Hey everybody, so I wanted to share something from my reading for today, and that is from the story of when Moses went to take the 10 Commandments from Mount Sinai, and he was there for 40 days and 40 nights. And while he was there, the Israelites told Aaron to make for them a golden calf for them to worship. And two things spoke to my spirit from that passage. One is that you will worship something regardless, because you see, when Moses was not there for 40 days and 40 nights, they asked for something to worship, and that is because we are created to worship. So if it's not God you are worshiping, you will worship something else. You will worship another person, you will worship your job, your business, your career, your promotion, you will worship money, you will worship a celebrity, you will find yourself worshiping something, because that is how we were created. It is innately in us to worship. So if it's not God that you're giving worship, take note of what are you worshiping in your life and redirect your worship to the one true deserving God that can handle worship, that is deserving, that is worthy of our adoration. Second thing that I noted is during this season, the Israelites felt the silence of God, because you see, Moses is basically sort of represented God to them, and he wasn't there, and so they felt or experienced the silence of God and not being in his presence. And we have to be careful in those seasons where, for example, you're praying and praying and praying and God is silent. You are seeking God, you are wanting to experience him, you are wanting to just feel him, you're wanting to, God, just come through for me, I've been asking for this, just come through for me, and God is silent. And the trick for God's silence is to wait, because had the Israelites waited just a little bit longer, Moses was coming down Mount Sinai with the 10 Commandments. So Moses was coming, the answer was coming, God was there. And actually, God knew what they were doing even while he was on the mountain, because he's omniscient, he's all-knowing, he is everywhere all the time. So he knew what they were doing. And so Moses was going to come back had they just waited. And so the trick for God's silence is to keep waiting and to be careful, because that is when the devil comes to you with distractions and with other things that you should worship and harmful behaviors that you should get into and habits that you should indulge in. It is in the waiting and it is in the silence of God that the devil comes with the distractions and with the temptations. So let's wait out the silent periods where God is not necessarily communicating with us, not necessarily talking to us, but please always know that the one thing that God has promised over and over and over again in my readings so far is that my presence will always be with you, is that I will go with you. So even if you are not feeling him, and by the way, Christianity is not about feelings. Sometimes you may not feel the presence of God, but that does not mean that he is not there with you every step of the way. He is always there.